start our recording. And Celestine's here. Fabulous. Happy Thursday. I am so incredibly excited to celebrate tonight with Kai Coggin. My name is Malika Albrecht, and I am the founding editor of Redheaded Stepchild. And I'm going to read a little bit about Kai. I apologize that you're just seeing a picture of a horse. Trust me, that's my best side. But I have very glitchy internet tonight. Tonight specifically, we are going to hear the words for Mining for Stardust. This was just published, FlowerSong Press. And those of us who have the book are eagerly awaiting hearing Kai read from this book. Some of us are still waiting for our copies. I know mine will be in the mail soon, and I cannot wait. If you weren't here when we were just starting, oh good, Addie's holding hers up with the gorgeous picture. I did want to come back and I'm gonna have to unfreeze myself again. I did want to come back and just mention what we were saying, because I really know that there's other people that feel strongly the same way. Kai has been such a bright light in our literary community, creating a safe place and a beautiful, welcoming environment every Wednesday for Wednesday night poetry. And many of us sent in our poems and got to be in wonderful community with each other because of what Kai provided. And I was asking, when did you start that? And just to let you know how proactive and how amazing and how steep that learning curve must have been. But by March 18th, that first Wednesday after we were all in lockdown, Kai was providing this platform, this opportunity for everybody. And I just think that that is so emblematic of your spirit, so true to your fierce and powerful presence. And I don't want to talk too much because we really want to hear your poetry, but I did want to just say a couple of things about Kai. Been well published in Bellevue Literary Review, Entropy, Solstice, SWWIM. Gosh, I love SWWIM. Luna. Kai Coggin is also the associate editor at Rise Up Review. And I love everything about this. She is a queer woman of color who thinks Black Lives Matter, a teaching artist in poetry with the Arkansas Arts Council, and the host of the longest running consecutive weekly open mic series in the country. And that stayed true even throughout the pandemic. And she lives with her wife, Joanne, and their two adorable dogs in the valley of a small mountain in Hot Springs National Park, Arkansas. I'm going to turn it over to you, Kai. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here and celebrate with you.
Thank you so much, Malika. You're such a gracious host. And I remember early on in the pandemic that you had many of us on this show before. And so it's an honor for me to be back here in your space and in your presence with your warm and beautiful heart. And I can feel like the horses and turkeys and chickens out there are also listening. So hello to all of you. Thanks for being here tonight. As Malika was saying, I started Wednesday night poetry in the virtual sphere, but it's been going on for a really long time, for almost 33 years. But that very first Wednesday, I wrote a poem, and I'm going to start with that poem tonight. And it's the first poem I read during that lockdown. And it's called A Poet's Balcony Aria in the Apocalypse. And it was right after watching that viral video of the Italian opera singer singing from his balcony, Nessun Dorma. And I watched it over and over and over again. And I was just weeping, just crying because it was so beautiful. And I wrote this poem. So this is the first poem of the pandemic. Through my headphones, I listened to a quarantined Italian tenor balcony serenade the empty streets and rooftops of Florence. I listen as his climax permeates the sky like an arrow into my heart. Nessun dorma, none shall sleep. Eyes are finally opening to our own collective frailty. I play the aria again for my love, and we watch the strength of the air pulled into the tenor's chest, the breath released with the high B vincero, as he clutches the balcony railing, bursting at the seams with feeling for his country, for his people on their solitary balconies. He picks up his little son into his arms as if to say, we will survive this, and sky sings another Vincero. I will be victorious. My wife and I weep for the beauty. I call her my wife in this poem because there is no one else I would rather spend the end of the world with. And without saying it, we weep for this tragedy as well. She goes about filling the first hummingbird feeder of the season, and I write this poem with an aria in my throat and this blank page balcony, hoping the words will come, something with meaning through this meaning lost time. What shall we sing from our balconies and fire escapes as we walk day by day into this unfolding apocalypse? What will we gravitate to in the dark? What matters most to you when tomorrow is no longer yours? My Facebook feed is fearful and frenetic, oversharing of resources and lessons and links as we desperately try to connect and hold on to one another, like we are throwing each other life rafts, but our country is a sinking ship and the ocean is already in our lungs. My love comes in from outside. She collects bright apples from the bowl and peels them to make a pie. The sun has finally started to shine after 10 solid days of rain. The cardinals and bluebirds outside trade arias of their own. I tell her the wild boar are running vacant in the streets of Italy. The swans and dolphins again swim the canals in Venice. The water is so clear that schools of fish can be seen all the way to the bottom, and people have no living memory of ever seeing this before. Eyes are finally opening to Earth's humanless harmony. She tells me the air pollution over China has almost disappeared. Satellites in space are noticing the clarity of our skies, and I think of what the Earth must be feeling through all of this. What deep breath she must be taking as we are all holed away inside. I wonder what few American wonders will flourish if we all heed the calls for quarantine and quiet our capitalism for a few months to let nature reconvene. Will the subway trains whir a song of ghosts? Will the Grand Canyon become an exhale? Will our rivers and streams remember their dreams? Will wildflowers run for Congress? Will our mountains remind us how to stand up for each other? Will decency bloom through the untrodden sidewalk cracks of our cities? Will this finally remind us of our collective humanity? Be still, be quiet, be solitary and slow, be attentive and listen. In a couple of weeks, we will wear Italian shoes. They walked this unknown first, and we surely will follow in our losses, in our fears, and in our hopes that we will survive this. Our collective American bravado will be cut down at the knees, and millions will wish they had only listened to the pleas to stay inside, to be alone, together. I wonder in the weeks to come, what will return to our land? What new suns will rise over our beaten fields? Let the crops grow wild with no one to tend them. Let the birds own the spring again with their nesting and song. Let us humans acknowledge all that we have done wrong. Let the children feel their parents closer and slow down and present, learning lessons like communicating expression or shaving with dad or tying a tie or collecting all the apples together and baking a pie. Let the parents slow down and remember the wonders of imagination and take their children on indoor adventures of the heart. This is the most important way you can do your part. Let the walls be broken down and the uniting bridges stand tall. There is no real separation when the danger comes for us all. Let the cloud we didn't know we were living under lift. Let what truly matters matter more than ever. Maybe that is the gift. Who are you spending the end of the world with tonight? Do yourself a favor and hold them tight. So that was the first poem. And it's really surreal now, almost 2 years from that time, a year and a half at least from when I wrote that, all that we've been through. We thought it would just be a couple of weeks, maybe a month tops. And now we're in 20 months. I hardly remember what it's like, the pre-pandemic world. Everything is so different. And it kind of astounds me what I was able to think about and project and dream and imagine just in that very first week of the pandemic, what could have happened, what we could have done. And then for the way that 2020 kind of unfolded and all that we went through together, that's the journey that this book goes on. And because of Wednesday night poetry, because I was challenging myself to write a new poem every week to share, and also because I was processing what we were all going through together for myself, that's how this book was born. I was just going through all of this collective experience. The next poem I'm going to share, and there's a chronological feel to it because it was chronological. So this was written on Palm Sunday. It's called Lazarus. It's Palm Sunday, a movable feast that has been moved inside, minus the palms, minus the hands, minus the peace. And I speak only in these fragmented psalms, but my palms ache to touch you. Bring my fingers to bless your cheekbones. Sweep your eyes with supple thumbs, cradle your neck and pull you into me. Our passion play. I lay myself down at your holy feet. Bend my fronds under your weight. Lazarus me with your kiss. The lines of my hands shape words into worlds that want to blend with yours. Fortune tell a sense of longing and loss, and we are islands of want. Around the world, palms are empty, in waiting, in desperation, in quiet prayered plea. We scrub and scrub, soaping the hope we will not become casualty. And lately, this theme pervades all my poetry, these hours, days, weeks, months in solitary. I did a lot of gardening. My wife and I did a lot of gardening. There's really nothing else to do. This is called Into Wildflower into Field. It's dusk and I watch you water our newly planted garden. The radish and arugula are first to push up through the soil. Green hands in prayer, unfolding towards sun and sky, and I sit on the side and write as you coax them toward you. It's like you're singing invisibly to the sleeping bed of seeds, like I can see the vibration of your gentle harvest hope. My own fingers begin searching the earth. My body bends toward the light of you. I green into a personal spring. My seeds break open again and again, searching for sun and sky, your eyes, constant gardener. You water the drought of me into wildflower, into royal meadow, into fields and fields and fields. Did you ever think our lives would bloom into this? On the ridgeline, the setting day paints us in an impermanent gold, but even now in this darkest dark of night, everything around us is aglow. Every week at Wednesday night poetry, I would count the dead. I would count how many people. We've lost 1,000 Americans. We've lost 2,000, 10,000. And that sort of counting happens in this book as well. The fox comments on proper burial procedure at 10,000 dead. I rake a path through the woods, change the energy of the land, move leaves and earth with the sweep of my hands, layers of seasoned crunchy brown, the wet year before, yellow, decaying until I hit pure ground, dark dirt. Winding and curving the soft, wet forest in silence, one rake uncovers the sun-bleached bones of a quick fox, years white fade blaring bone bright against the mud color floor. I see the shape of him, the movement, the grace of his fossilized grandeur, his delicate hind leg, maybe a shoulder, blading through the grass, vertebrae articulating something I haven't the words for yet. I pick up his tiny white backbone, hold its weightlessness in my palm, turn it in my fingers against the glint of fading day, and I remember the headlines out of New York City this morning. Contingency plan, 10 coffins for each trench, New York City Park. The words dignity and only temporary flash in my eyes as light bounces off bone, and there is nowhere to bury all the bodies. There is nowhere to bury all the bodies. I think of the American shut-ins, balcony howling in unison each night into the open sky to thank the essential workers, beating their pots and pans and hands together like the tribe vibration is returning to them. The thread is thicker than the threat that connects us all. My heart sets itself on fire and I howl. I scream so loudly the birds explode from the trees and the mountains sing back to me. Ow! I lay the fox vertebrae back in line with the fox spine, leave him as whole as I found him, and cover his bones with the pure black earth. I hope our 10,000 dead countrymen received the same dignity, wholeness, and rest. Essence. I thin the seeds already sprouting in the bamboo garden, the radish, beet, carrot, and bean, pulled each birth out of the earth and laid it on my tongue, crushed it with my teeth. And did you know that these tiny sprouts, these little leaves and baby greens already hold the heavy flavors of their final selves? If only we tasted our own essence from birth, knew the transformations to come were all part of the becoming, that we had the imprint all along. So this book, 2020, starting, let's get to May. Yeah, that's where I'll go next. I'll go to around May. And it's not like a diary or anything, but it sort of happens that way. We hit 75,000, we hit 85,000, then we hit 100,000. And this is called Makeshift Memorial. I wrote this on Memorial Day. We crossed over the 100,000 mark like it was just another Tuesday. No fanfare, no flourish of flowers left on 100,000 graves, funeral-less limbo walkers who disappear like a fog into the history we are writing with our collective inadequacy to be decent to each other. A memorial is an object which serves as a focus for the memory or the commemoration of something, usually an influential deceased person or a historical tragic event. Wikipedia. From behind a mask, I whisper 100,000 names on the day we call memorial, because something should be done to remember the living as they slip away. The uptick in numbers that were never just numbers, but bodies, full of breath, full of breath, full of breath, full of breath, knees and arms, ankles and bellies, cheeks that dimpled at smiles, gaps in teeth, snores when she sleeps, feet that once learned to tango, earlobes, once kissed in moonlight, curls of hair silkened to white, his aching back that worked so hard in the field, her childbearing hips leaving children behind, hands and hands and hands that reach for mine in my mind. Not just numbers, but human beings, reduced, reduced, reduced until the only common denominator is how quickly they are forgotten in this pandemic pandemonium. And I can't sit with that. No, not today. On Memorial Day, we remember those who fought for our country and died, but half of the country forgot those fighting in ICU beds just to stay alive. The collective death toll of our last 4 wars, and half of the country doesn't want to quarantine anymore. 100,000 dead while America throws pool parties. Beaches and boardwalks swarm with shoulder-to-shoulder crowds who dismiss the safety of the future for the party of now. Because this is America, land of the free, and don't tread on me, and nobody's going to tell me to wear a mask. And all of those soldiers who died in all of those wars. I guess America can tell them it's too much to ask to protect one another and help slow the spread. So happy Memorial Day, America. 100,000 are dead. A mass grave of indifference. Red-capped rebels drinking their bleach cocktails, and there they are, banging on the door of my reverence to the lost, waving their AR-15s on the Capitol steps of this poem, invading, invading, and I breathe them out, and I breathe them out, and I breathe them out. I build a makeshift memorial in my heart for the lives that we have lost. Photos and teddy bears and scraps of poems. I light 100,000 candles in the pit of my rib cage so that when I speak, only the light of them releases into the dark night of this country. I dance with their 100,000 ghosts. I lay their favorite flowers at all of their perfect feet. In the language of heart, I know their favorite flowers, and I lay a bright "She Loves Me" petal on each of their lips so they can breathe easy the ethers of beauty while they rise into becoming anew. We have to give them that grace, even just a passing thought, a well wish into the stars. We have to give them that grace. Tomorrow in America, a news story named George Floyd will take our focus, will move us into fury or collapse us into numbness. But today, I am a mouthful of epitaphs, a makeshift memorial, a funeral pyre burning the sound of 100,000 names into the history of a country too quick to forget. So it got really rough. We watched George Floyd get murdered by a police officer. We watched so many Black men and Black women, Breonna Taylor, get murdered that year. And their memory is in the poems throughout this book. Our fury and our rage and our protests are in this book. Politics are in this book. Everything that we went through together collectively on Wednesday Night Poetry every week, we were writing about these things. We were feeling these things together. And that was the beauty of our collective together, our community that we, many of you are here tonight. We had that anger, we had that fury, we had that righteousness. We were seeing what was happening around us, and we poured that energy into our poems, and then we brought them together every week and we proclaimed them. And the vibrations of those poems rippled out into this country, into this planet, into the universe, because energy and art are the same thing. Poetry has vibration. So I just wanted to say that out loud. I'm going to read one more political poem, and this was written, it was published in Rough Cut Press, which is an amazing publication, and one of the editors and my dear friend Amanda is in the crowd tonight, and she asked me to write this poem in response to the Republican National Convention. And so I wrote this the next morning, And this was my, it's a political poem, and I haven't read it at any of my stops on my book tour thus far, because I feel like we kind of came to the other side of that. But sometimes we need to be reminded of where we came from, in order to stay where we are with the same power and fortitude to keep going into the moral arc of justice and goodness and light that we hopefully are in now. So this is called This America. How much more can we take? It's a constant, painful inundation to be alive in this America. This America, as if I have detached myself from my country, as if I am removed from its borders, outsider trapped inside, warrior of light with nowhere to hide. How much more can we take? This America. Its spacious skies choked with the ash of a million trees burning, climate change deniers keep the fires raging higher, everything tinder, everything silver cinders and smoke, black out the sun with the arms of falling redwoods, ancients collapsing with the weight of humanity's collective disregard. How much more can we take? This America. It's amber waves and waves of pain. Every day, a new horror. Every day, a new shame. Another slashing of our human dignity by the hands of the heartless minority in stolen power. A regime that viciously stamps out American dreams and builds walls of broken glass and silenced screams, brandishes weapons of fear and hate, and teens with AR-15s, turns our stars into swastikas in the light of day. This is America 2020, and I cannot look away. He turns the people's house white, 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 holds an authoritarian ego convention on the sacred steps of the White House with floodlights, blinding out the darkness he created as savior for the radical right. How much more can we take? This America. From sea to once shining sea, we are a sick country, quarantined, suffocating in a public health emergency. Our passports no good for travel internationally because we have no handle on this ravaging disease. 300,000 will die before the end of the year, and the world laughs at our dictator in chief as he says, what a very good job he did. The very best job ever he did, better than any other country ever he did, better than humanly possible and every other fucking superlative, the most robust testing. Lie. It will just disappear overnight. Lie. China virus, China virus, China virus, racism. I provided the most ventilators and PPE. Lie. Cases are going up because testing is going up. Gaslighting. Maybe try drinking some bleach, hydroxychloroquine. I have the best vaccine. Children are virtually immune. Lie, lie, lie. And we send in the teachers to die for the economy. How much more can we take? This America, its purple mountain majesty turned bloody bruises, turned tear gas and rubber bullet blush, turned crush under the foot of brutality's boot, knee on his pleading throat, George. Shot 7 times in the back in front of his children, Jacob. These men, these black men, these black fathers whose martyrdom is unfounded, unfound fathers lost to their existences, holes in their former lives, to teach us a lesson that just keeps repeating and repeating, that you cannot be black in this America and survive. You cannot be sleeping like Breonna Taylor and stay alive. Hashtag stitched up to the stars like barbed wire, and we have fenced ourselves in with all our collective history and hate to look at each other in the face until each side screams for a civil war. And this America, I just can't take it anymore. I just can't take it anymore. Anyone with a heart in their chest, a pulse in their striving soul, a light inside that guides them can see us all of us spiraling out of control. How much more can we take? How do we save our principles? How do we build upon real foundations while there are monsters tearing at our roots? How do we save our democracy, our liberties, our virtues? How do we taste hope on our lips again? Vanquish the oligarch and his mob of evil men. Open your heart even wider, though it may be broken. Tell truth to power, though your voice might be shaking. Embolden justice, progress, inclusiveness, brotherhood, empathy, and light. This is still our America. This is still our America. And we are still in this fight. Thank you. So that was my sword that I drew. And I see some of y'all crying. Man, we went through that. This was the sword that I drew right before the election, the presidential election in 2020. And that's the most powerful sword I had, was this poem. So thank you again, Amanda, for asking me to write it. I don't want to leave us there. Malika, do I have time for one more? Yes, okay. I'm going to leave us with a love poem. And this is one that I do read at most of these readings because it's a happy poem. And 2020 was definitely hard, but it was also very happy for me because I got to get married. And I married Joanne, and we married on Zoom in front of, our friends and family in our garden. And so this is called Filling Spice Jars as Your Wife. And thank you everyone for listening, for having your whole hearts here with me. And I'm just honored to be here again. So this was published in Poetry Magazine, which is so cool. And I'm just happy about that. So Filling Spice Jars as Your Wife. It seems like all my poems after this will be different. They will hold a different weight, like how the weight of my heart has shifted into indistinguishable float, into lifting cloud, into weightless flight tonight as the rain gently falls on the summer heated tin roof, the din of casual raindrops and warm low lights glowing, the wind blowing through the house. We have all our doors and windows open. We have all our doors and windows open, and I am pouring spices into glass jars, coriander, cinnamon, cumin, ground sage, and it's hard to describe this moment within the confines of a page. Tiny hills of vibrant color and intoxicating fragrance, and you hear the cadence of my heart from the kitchen, where you build perfect fitting slip-in shelves for our spices over the stove. Match the colors, match my colors to yours. I have all my doors and windows open to you. I have all my doors and windows open to you, and you have come all the way inside, sat down at the table of my deepest desires and lit a fire to warm us both. The wind blowing through the house, the rain gently giving way to turmeric sunrise, and you, darling, you are my wife. You are my wife, and it's like I have been waiting my whole life to say those words, and I feel held in a way I have never felt before. To look down at my fingers dusted with ginger and thyme and see the gold of my wedding band glint and shine in the warm, low light glow. I am yours, and you are mine, promised on Zoom in our garden of giant zinnia and hummingbird vines, sung out in the morning song of bluebirds, this union that ripples love out into the world and infinities back into us again. Love in the fine powder of these spices, ground up essence of oregano and basil. I see our love in every atom suddenly, and every cell in me finally exhales. And perhaps that is the wind. Perhaps that is the wind blowing through the house, this release of eternal searching and finding you there, calling me your forever, naming me your always, to have and to hold, till death do we part, and start all over again, only looking for each other's hearts, taking my life in your hands eternal, marrying me to the heavens, latching me to the star trail of your white dress in this orbital dance, this lift and spin, this knowing from within that all my poems after this will be different because you are my wife. Thank you so much, everybody.
Oh, so
It's an
beautiful.
honor.
If people want to
Thank you so
unmute,
much.
please. Thank you so much, Kai. You can unmute everybody because I know.
Yay, Kai! Yay!
Wonderful.
Oh my gosh, an audience. I love hearing you. I want to
Yeah,
see
let's
all
get
of
everybody's
you.
face in there.
Who's here? Who's here?
Ah.
Margaret, Propaganda, Addie, Amy, Dawn, Amanda. Thank you so much for being here, loves. This meant so much to
Great.
me.
I'm so
Kai,
happy.
you mean so much to us.
Yes.
Mm,
So much to us.
Yes.
Like literally
thank you.
got us through the pandemic. Like if there was all hope was lost, you couldn't take it anymore. There was Wednesday night. There
I
was.
adore
So
you.
true.
And let's all do the. Let's do the ritual thing, you guys.
Aw,
Really-
Yes.
Wait, I have to take a screenshot. I have to take a screenshot. Wait, okay.
good.
Okay, ready? Oh my gosh. You guys, thank you
Seriously,
so
the
much.
first
That
time
was
you
so
ever did that,
special.
I couldn't even. I mean, it was like my husband's like, "Why are you crying?"
Exactly.
Every
Exactly.
time.
It felt so weird to do it that
you.
first time.
I did.
It felt so weird to do it the first time, but man, it really made a difference to
Did you
me.
just, I want to
You know,
ask
just
you,
to
Kai,
have,
did you just like come up with that on the fly, or did you like on that?
yeah.
You did? Wow.
It was that second week, the second week of lockdown, and I had opened it to any poet out there, you know, and it was getting really bad and scary in New York, and it was just such a scary time. And I just did it. I saw myself on the screen there, and I was like, what if I just reach out?
Oh wow.
What if somebody just needs, you know, we can't touch each other. We can't be
can.
with each other.
Yeah, but we
What if
can,
I
but we
just, what if I just put my hand up there? Because so many people were alone, going through this alone, you know, and I was like, this might be kind of hokey, but I'm gonna just see how it
was
goes.
so
And
amazing.
you know, dozens of
it was
people sent me
genuine.
pictures of them holding their phone, you know, their hand up to their phones, and it's just like, well, I'm gonna do this every week now because we need each other. We need that contact and that touch and that love, you know. And so thank you for all of you, Marie, you know, Amy, Connie, all of you that showed me that it was reaching you, that you were reaching back every week, you know. I love all of you so
sense of
much, like
genuine
a family.
compassion came through. It did. I think it was palpable, and I think that's what you're seeing from everybody that's shaking their head. It was palpable.
And I actually collectively thought of people alone, people by themselves, people in an apartment, people on a
Yeah.
farm. Like I collectively thought of everybody when you did that, that would be all hanging on at the same time.
It
I
became a
did
real
too.
practice for me to watch everybody's, if I couldn't watch that night or that afternoon, to just take time out of my day, that Wednesday night or Thursday morning, to watch everybody's poem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very important.
And
to
what
me.
we went through together, you know, when we all had, you know, we were going through the election, and it's like, let's all send in blue poems or poems of hope, you know. And then when it finally was over and it was really real, and the election, the insurrection,
The
even
insurrection, I
happened
remember after
on
the
it
insurrection,
was
like,
a
oh
Wednesday.
my God, yeah.
Yep.
It was
It was
a
a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Like,
It was a Wednesday,
the
that's right.
inauguration was a Wednesday. Like there
Yeah.
were so many Wednesdays that were so historical, and we went through that shit together, y'all.
did,
You
yeah.
out there, we went through it together, and it's so meaningful to me to have you staring back at me in real time right now and just saying that, you know, we held each other up. We really did. And I knew we were, but now, you know, face to face like this, it means so much. So thank you for taking the time out of your evenings to share this night with me.
Absolutely.
And
And
I
it's
just
not,
love
it's
you all
not a
so
past
much.
tense experience for most of us, Kai. I
Yeah.
mean, my schedule
Right.
has changed, but I still tune in when I can, and I try to contribute when I can. And I feel very connected to all of the community that you instilled in us
Definitely.
still. And we're all
And I-
there still for each other.
I don't think
We
I'm
are.
alone, Kai, when I say that it's very obvious that you are one of those souls that was sent here for the universe to speak through.
Aw,
And
Totally
Mm,
perfectly
don't make me
said.
cry, Bear.
I
Conduit.
have no doubt
yeah.
that you are living the life that you are supposed to live to make the world a better place, and you are
Yeah.
succeeding at that.
Mm,
And we thank you for that.
Yes, perfectly said.
Thank
Bear.
Thank you,
Bear.
brother.
Regina mentioned
Yes,
something
Kai.
on chat about your book being a shrine.
Yes.
And
Yep.
and I think that is just very well observed, but also, it speaks to the ritual that you were providing for everybody on Wednesday nights.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, I was very consciously writing my way out of the dark through that time, and trying to fight. I'm a warrior,
yeah.
and it's just like Bear, I'm a warrior poet, and there was so much darkness to weave through and fight through, and and that's all I had. That was the only sword I had in that fight. And so
I think
It was a
thank
big
you
one.
for feeling that, Regina.
Well,
I wanted it
excuse
to
me,
be a
you're-
memorial. I wanted those people to live forever in this book.
You gave us
I
a
wanted
living
some way to
document.
honor those
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
When I
think
when I
You
read
know,
it,
and-
I feel it. I feel that whole time. And you and Bear and a lot of people were able to write directly to it. I write circuitously around it.
Right.
So I treasure the record that you gave us
Right.
that I wasn't able to write directly.
And,
was
and
too
Amy,
hard.
you're
Thank you.
touching on something I think is very remarkable,
Yeah.
is Kai's ability in the moment to have these deep observations that broaden out a wide range of what people were experiencing. I have to tell you, Kai, your poems each week used to just send me over the edge. Sometimes they were so beautiful. There was a palpable sense of love. And sometimes it was that collective grief of,
Yeah.
this is what we're seeing, this is what we're experiencing, and it really was a touchstone. And to have them all together in the book is a shrine, like Regina said. And then
Yeah.
somebody else, Margaret, I think it was you said, I hope you're still writing, Kai, because we want volume 2.
Oh,
I mean,
I am still
I'm
writing.
still
of
writing.
course,
Omicron.
Of course.
Omicron's next, right?
I'm not,
Omicron's
I'm
now.
not writing about
And I'm
that
still
yet.
Now
But
and next.
So,
what's interesting about the timeline of it, I had my publisher from FlowerSong waiting. He was like, well, is your book done? Is it ready? And it was like August, it was September, it was October of 2020. And I was like, no, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. Then the election was happening. I was like, nope, it's just not ready yet. And it wasn't until I could write that poem on the inauguration day
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
knew, okay, we might be coming to the other side of this thing. And I knew that the book would be done soon, because I don't ever want to leave anybody in the dark, So even that little bit of hope, that other side of this, that's kind of where the book ends with the inauguration. And then my own personal kind of growing also.
Remember when we
Thanks for
thought
reading it so
you were
deeply
ending
and
the virtual
feeling it.
part?
Yes.
sorry, Kai.
Yeah.
And then we were all bawling our
And I
eyes out,
still
and then we had to
can't.
come back.
I know. We're going back to live. Oh, no, never
Nope,
mind.
nope.
I do live in Arkansas. No one was vaccinated yet. Yeah. Like, never mind.
But
That was for the
It's
Delta.
not gonna be ending. You're not gonna, I just got there. So
Regina.
I know.
Yeah,
See,
and
Regina,
now-
I wouldn't do that to you. So I've been toying with the idea, it's a lot of work, y'all, just a lot of space in my head and my heart every week I've gotten used to it, but I want to open up space to some other things. So I'm not going to, I've been like, should I? I don't want to do it every week virtually, but we'll go back to doing it once a month
it's
virtually,
good.
so we can
Yeah.
still hang on to each other. Is that
Yeah.
okay with y'all?
Yeah.
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 That's a good
So
idea.
we'll do second Wednesdays. Okay, good. I'll make the announcement this week.
I'm doing
then.
the Amy.
maybe
So
you
we'll
need
at
like
least-
a co-host, so like if you
Yeah.
can't, because I
See,
know it's
because
a
I'm
lot.
doing it live too. I'm live
Oh,
at the
yeah.
coffee shop every Wednesday, like back
Incredible.
in real bodies. And so that's been interesting, but there's a different energy with you all.
You need to
with
clone
what we've
yourself.
created. Okay, I'll work on that.
All right. That's next on your agenda.
There's something I wanted to
Y'all
say,
ever-
and I know like a lot of
Yes.
people have have spoken to, have given you designations, and you yourself, you certainly are a warrior poet. But something that comes to my mind just kind of even more profoundly is you are a prophet. And that is a phrase that I don't use frequently. And it's not just given to anybody, like people say, oh, well, poets are prophets. Poets, some
Not
are.
all of us.
Not all of us, right? But there is something, and I think when we think about prophecy, we think about, a lot of people think about the foretelling of the future. But, prophets kind of speak to what's happening and provide this cautionary perspective of, if we don't get this stuff together, this is going to destroy us, and so not in any particular denominational sense, maybe in the denomination of, in the
Poetry
church
denomination.
Of love.
Yeah.
Love.
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 That's it.
Yeah, love, like,
I really feel that. I feel that.
Well,
I
I
was
And the
received
patron
that.
saint of internet poetry.
There you go.
Evoking bell hooks after her passing yesterday. I just think you embody the revolutionary love.
Oh, Marie, that's the perfect way to put it.
Actually, and the other thing is, I've
Gosh, you
never cried
guys.
so much with somebody I had never met in person.
Ever met. I know. Can we all hug at AWP? Who's going?
Yes.
Come on.
Definitely.
We should have an offsite reading, okay?
That'd
Even
be
if it's
fun.
like in
Wouldn't
my
that be
room.
great to have the WNP offsite reading? That'd be
WNP
the coolest.
offsite, yes.
Yeah.
It would.
Totally
And you know
is.
what's interesting? So many people have been involved that
Yeah,
it'd be huge.
It would be huge.
would
Hundreds
take
of people
over.
that you featured, Kai. I mean, just to think about
Hundreds.
how many,
Yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah, there's been about almost 400 features.
Oh my
4,000
gosh.
poems.
Wow.
4,000 poems have gone through Wednesday Night Poetry in the last
Wow.
85 weeks.
Wow.
Just amazing.
That's some poetry stats, girl.
It is. And I have it. So here's another thing. If anyone ever wants to take this on, or there's some like alien race in the future that wondered what poets thought in 2020, I have all of them saved right here.
Oh my God.
They're all on this, all the videos. Because if I left them all on my laptop, it would have crashed.
Yeah, no kidding.
too.
Yeah.
But so they're all saved and labeled, each
Oh,
week.
that's
and so
great.
it's literally a historical archive with poetry.
Should do the black box
and
thing.
then
Yeah.
some of the giants that we've had on there. It's just been really
Lots,
cool.
big ones.
And I feel like the seeds that I tried to sow throughout the pandemic and everything, they kind of came back to me in a beautiful way of like getting these, luminary voices like Juan Felipe and Naomi Shihab-Nye, and the people that took this book into their hearts first.
Yeah.
And got behind it. That was such a big deal to me. Oh, Margaret's taking a picture.
Oh, and the
good.
spiritual mother one, with Joy Harjo, that was just
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Yeah. And the
was
Jane Hirschfield
amazing.
I
one.
can't believe that came together.
Ellen
Oh,
Bass. You had
I
everything.
thought I was like
Nikki
this is-
Finney.
Nikki Finney.
I don't think
yeah,
there's
Nikki
anybody you
Finney.
didn't have. Yeah.
Just amazing.
There's a couple, but Jericho Brown said no. I'll never forgive him now. He's busy. Well,
anybody have any
thank you
other
so
questions?
much, Malika. Are we?
I was going to ask, does anybody have any questions for Kai? Any more questions? Because
Thank y'all
was
so
nice.
much for making this time.
yeah,
Are you coming to North Carolina?
Yes, thank you. I would like to maybe come to that horse farm one day.
I was going to say, Regina, you and I can work on having her featured when
How about?
such things are
That'd be
possible.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
would
and
love
even,
that.
if you get to North Carolina, I want to try to find a way to get you a platform at maybe
That's what
my
I'm saying, we get
college or
A
the
grant.
You know,
university.
Regina, I was going to say that, if this book is getting taught in several universities and colleges in the spring. And so if you want more information about that, I would love to talk to you on the side, and
Okay.
come and talk to your kids, and
That'd be
because
great.
it's a vehicle for processing, even for college kids, high school kids, they went through it too. And it was
Yeah.
so
Right.
hard for them.
They're going
So,
through it. Yeah.
True
they're
story.
still
And
going through it.
Celestine,
Right,
Night,
Amy?
everybody. Thank you.
Good night, Addie.
I
Thank
love
you.
Kai,
And
I've got a
Regina,
question
you
for
could get up
you.
with Celestine
Yes,
about
Yes,
I would
Amy.
love to. I would
Yeah.
love to provide space for you. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
We can
Thank
maybe
you.
even do something like what we did with Jackie Shelton Green.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that would work real well.
I'm
and she
going
could
to
stay at the farm.
Tennessee. Yeah. Oh, I'd love that.
That's what I'm saying.
I've got a few
done.
college visits coming up next semester, so I'd love to get y'all
Yeah, very
on the
doable.
books.
Very doable. Yeah, Amy likes the idea.
Amy and
too.
I have
Oh, I
already
just
been
copied Bear.
She's
I
making
just
me
helped
do
her
it.
do it.
Oh,
Is it Bear?
oh, Bear, you started a wave down the hole.
Yeah.
I love that
Do
you're
the
here,
wave
Bear.
on Zoom. Can you? Let's try it. Here, I'll go.
Okay.
Now you go.
I think we're all in different boxes, though.
Yeah.
There, she can do it. Then you could do each box sequentially. Yeah.
Sadly, I think I'm still frozen. I heard somebody said they had a question and I missed who it was. I think it might have been you,
It was
Margaret.
Amy.
It was Amy.
Okay.
Here's my question for you, Kai. Do you feel the love?
I do. I really, really do, especially from this reading particularly. Because y'all are like my heart, like my true constellations, like my ride or die team, and it just means so much, to see you and feel you here in person. I mean, in our boxes, but in person.
Still.
I really felt it tonight, and I'm taking into account everything that you all have said, and it just fills me. I just feel really filled up and loved. So thank you.
Very
That
low.
was a great question, Amy. I'm so glad you asked that. And I'm so glad you feel that, Kai. That really just touches me. That's so awesome. Whew. I don't need.
Off, guys. Love
Bye,
you,
Connie.
Kai.
Love you.
Love you,
Bye,
Connie.
Connie.
Thank you.
Night.
Happy
Next time.
holidays.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. The big 6-0. Take care.
Woohoo.
Bye, beautiful.
Bye.
Excuse
Um,
me, I have to go to another one. The connections
Okay.
and creativity.
Be
This is
well,
our-
Margaret.
Bye,
This is our
Dawn.
monthly reading night. So, but it
Thank you
was
for being here,
wonderful.
Margaret.
It's beautiful. Nobody reads your poetry like you do. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, how do I get out of? Oh, okay.
I can help you.
I'm old enough to be all your mothers.
There's this button.
Hit the red button.
There you go. She got it.
She did it.
Do I know normally I announce ahead of time about open mic, but I realized I did not do that. And I think I already opted Regina into reading a poem, the one that you wrote recently. If somebody else would like to read, we can just be very casual about it and just kind of round robin. And I do want to send one more just thank you to Kai for being here. I'm so glad that you celebrated and read tonight. That was just gorgeous. My heart is so full.
Thank you. So is mine, Malika. Thank you so much for this space and for your heart.
Aw.
And your book is on the way.
Oh, yay. Thank you. I can't wait.
It is, yeah.
Regina, did you want to read? And I can come
Sure.
spotlight you? Fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm Regina Garcia. For those of you who do not know me, I recognize some of you because I've recently been acquainted. Thank you, Malika, for connecting me with Kai and Wednesday night poetry. It is. I look forward to it, even if I'm not reading, to just listening to it, hearing other people. It just it has just been a wonderful experience. So when Kai tagged me to write or to read for this past episode that focused on feelings, I actually the first feeling, you would think is Christmas, and so joy, merry, but I've been having as I've gotten older, and particularly as we've gone into the pandemic, and I've lost many people, and like I was saying earlier before we actually started, I have a mother with dementia, and so I've been watching her lose, kind of pieces of herself. It has been just a really stark reminder of how people are just kind of transitioning into their other spaces, but kind of out of my life. And that's not always the happiest, thought to have. That doesn't necessarily elicit feelings of joy. And so, I wrote this in trying to kind of reason with myself how to unpack this. How can I unpack this? And so I did it not knowing, of course, that we would be losing this great woman. And so I'm going to just share with you, because I'm going to stop talking and read. Okay. I will not have to see you die. Let this ring for a minute. I'm sorry. My clock is singing. I can't. I will not have to see you die. I will not have to see you die. Your life lives in my throat, the lines of my face, my eyes, my skillets and pans, neck and hands. In these ways, I preserve your dignity, and I never let you go. I will draw your life in ashes, wet and smudged across my page. I will hand down these stories while you yet breathe and read them aloud, because your tongue misfires your intentions. I do not have to prepare to pick shrouds and gowns, caskets and crowns. I will poet you to live, to be alive forever. You are still here. I will pen the best parts of your legacy to my life. Pray they will settle into my mind and my skin, so that my sons will not watch me take them to my grave. I will restitch these maps to them and plot a course to me, to you, and so on and so on. I will not have to see you die to know that you live and will live again. Pressed in my trembling soul are the coordinates to your star, your branch, your seat among our great familial crowd of witnesses. I will fly to you, find you, wherever you are, whenever you are, now and in the by and by and by.
Oh, Regina. Ooh, just gorgeous. And I am keeping that. I will
So
poet
good.
you to live. Heaven's sakes, that was gorgeous.
So good.
Just so good. Thank you so much, Regina, for reading it.
Thank you. And I'm sorry about my clock. I was like,
That's
did
okay.
you all hear my clock?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, I think Bear wrote, that's a good title for a poem. My clock is singing.
My clock is singing it. Yeah, it's just Christmas clock. That is just, oh my gosh. It just, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Did anyone else want to read? We can sit in this beautiful space and just say thank you. Thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you for Kai for celebrating with us. Thank you, Regina, for reading. Thank you all for your presence. This is very important stuff to just show up. It's a lot with that authenticity. And thank y'all. And I'm glad you got to look at my horse. I can't, every time I freeze up. So that's the best I got. Picture.
What's his name or her name?
Yeah,
that
what's her
was-
name? That's what I was wondering too.
That was Ellie. So Ellie is my heart horse. And many years ago, I used to ride when I was younger, and I always, loved horses, but there came a time where I just couldn't afford it. And I started having kids, and I got a horse crazy daughter. I was so grateful because it meant I might ride. And this was where she was riding. This horse came in, and they were going to use her for a polo cross pony, and they needed someone to exercise her. And they said, "Don't you ride?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." And they said, "Would you like to exercise her?" And I said, "Yes, I will do anything to ride that horse." And so she got me back into riding, and also taught me a lot about myself. The first time I approached her, she was on cross ties, and I was going to brush her, and she reared up. She was very head shy because she had been abused. And I related to her, and taught me a lot about softness for all of us that carry a heavy burden. Taught me a lot. And oddly enough, when I moved here as a new single mom, the people that owned her said, "She is moving with you." So they gave her to me. And she spent out
Oh,
her
wow.
last 7 years here with me. And that was our goodbye. That was our last time together. And she was never big on having her head hugged. And she let me hold her like that until the vet came. So that's Ellie.
What a
Thank
beautiful
y'all.
spirit. What a
Oh,
beautiful communion that you two had, a beautiful
she-
love and understanding. And that's what when we were saying, the horse is no different from you. You have such a deep love and understanding for these animals and the work that you do. You do it on a different level, and we all see it and we all respect it, and it's just admirable how you speak to this whole other kingdom with such openness and vulnerability and care.
Oh,
And I
thank
can't
you,
wait to come to
Kai.
your farm.
I can't wait till you do. I can't wait for you to meet everybody and for them to meet you.
Yeah.
They have
Can't
such
wait. That'll
deep
be really
opinions
cool.
on people, such deep, like they're so amazing. And I just can't wait to see who you connect with.
I remember a couple of videos you did with those turkeys, and they did have some pretty fierce opinions. I remember.
Oh, they did.
That was really
I had
cute.
several videos where I just got photobombed so bad I couldn't even read the poem.
Yeah, like a chicken jumped on your book and stuff. One got on your
Exactly.
head, I think. I was like, this is over the top. This is amazing.
Yeah, oh, truly my world is exactly like that, They're who I
Yeah.
communicate best with, as it turns out, is animals. But thank you for all of that.
Well, you're pretty good with
Thank y'all.
people too.
I have good people that are kind. You all have a wonderful night. Kai, thank you so very much. It was such a good
Thank
thing. And Amy, it
you.
was so good to see you.
Oh,
All
so
right,
good to
guys,
see
be
you
well.
too. Thank you all for
I
making this happen.
I just put the link to, if anybody wants a signed copy, in the chat there that doesn't have it yet. You can get one right there. And Bear, I need your address, sir. You just give me your address, okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Feeling
a
that one
great
out.
book. It's a great book. It's a great book. It's a great. I tell everybody.
Giving everybody a moment to go ahead and cut and paste the direct link so that you can order a signed copy. And I have to tell you, what she writes to you is another poem, always, always. It's such a deep, genuine vision. Exactly what Bear was saying. It is good to be in y'all's company. Be well. Thank y'all. Kai, I'll send you all this stuff as soon as I get it up. And obviously it's going to take me a while with
Thank
this
you.
slow internet. All right, thank y'all.
I understand. Thank you all for seeing me and feeling me. I love you all. Happy holidays, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Perfect. Love y'all too. Yes.